It's 3 o'clock. I'm Mark Wozniak. I'm the local host of All Things Considered on WBFO. I've been at WBFO for over 40 years, and I'm here to talk about depression because I am a person who suffers from depression and have for a long time.
Mark was diagnosed with depression in the early 1990s. Suffering from what he described as unhappiness, he was treated with antidepressants.
But yet it still persisted. And in the late 90s, my son Alex became seriously ill with cancer. And that certainly didn't help things. He was 9 at the time. And we dealt with the illness for a good 6 years before he finally passed away when he was 16. And that exacerbated things, and I started seeing a psychiatrist who, again, not only adjusted medicines for me, but, as a psychiatrist does, also works as a psychotherapist. And it did take time to listen to my thoughts and my ramblings and my various things I had to say.
But was there an earlier life trigger for Mark's depression?
My mother died when I was 12, and a lot of things I had to deal with on my own, and no longer having a mother to confide in, a lot of stuff just stayed inside, simmered and bubbled and boiled. And created who I am today.
Mark is convinced it was the loss of his mother that set off his depression, but then it was compounded later in life when he lost his son to leukemia.
I also realized I was never grieving my mother's passing until after Alex died. And I was, I guess, in a sense, grieving 2 for 1. So in a sense, the depression got deeper.
But Mark managed to stay strong during his son's cancer journey.
I don't know that I had time to be depressed. I was too busy trying to care for Alex and keep a normal family life going for my daughter Carrie, who's 4 years younger. He relapsed twice. He had beaten the disease once and was clear for almost 3 years before he relapsed the first time.
Sadly, his son died in June of 2004 at the age of 16.
As time goes on and the grieving process proceeds, you learn just how much, the depth of grief is usually equal to the depth of the love you have for a person. The grieving never stops, and here it is. This year marks 15 years since his passing, and I still miss him every day.
Mark's medications took the edge off.
I dare say I never considered suicide. I thought about it, but it just didn't seem to be any sort of practical, there was no sort of practical answer.
The medicine was adjusted. Then he started seeing a psychiatrist.
I'm not a fan of the meds I have to take, but I hesitate to think what it might happen if I stop taking them. So I continue. I was supposed to walk a half hour a day.
But it is some hobbies that help absorb some of his depression, like his family's genealogy, polka music, and an extensive history file he created.
Checking the WBFO Almanac, we go back 100 years, February 1st, 1919. That started out in 1982 with the WBFO Book News of the Year. I spend a lot of time sleeping nowadays. In fact, I will sleep till noon most days, even though my work day starts at 1:30 here at WBFO. 12 noon is when my alarm goes off. There's no necessary reason for me not to be up in the morning and doing things, but I just don't have the urge, the drive to do that.
This is All Things Considered.
But Mark says life goes on, and he remains committed to his career as news host at WBFO.
When the red light goes on, it means your microphone is open and you have a job to do, and that is to report the news. A winter storm warning remains in effect until 6 this evening. Any other moods or mood swings are to be put aside.
And now, after 40 years of being a voice at WBFO, Mark feels ready to share his depression story to help others in our community.
There are other people out there who are in the same boat, who are living with depression, sort of a quiet desperation. You're not alone. And maybe if I can tell my story, someone else will hear the story and decide they too are not alone, and maybe we can start, like the prayer of St. Francis, may it start with me.
Mark realizes he may never be cured, but he doesn't consider his mental illness a stigma.
What will happen next, you don't know, but there will be a tomorrow. It may not be in the form you know, it may not be in the form you expect, but tomorrow will come again, the sun will rise.
Mark is proud of his wife Karen, a school teacher, adult daughter Carrie, who he calls the apple of his eye, and his career, which now makes him the longest employee in WBFO's 60-year legacy.
Knowing who I am in the context of being one of the WBFO's longest tenured people, that helps.